Welcome to the Landy Peak Podcast. I'm your host and friend, Landy Peek, and I am thrilled to have you join me. In each episode, we will explore what makes life truly fulfilling: happiness, deep connections, and self-discovery. Together, we'll uncover that happiness is not a destination, but a way of living. Now, let's dive into today's episode. Hey there, and welcome back to the Landy Peak Podcast. I'm your host and friend, Landy Peek, and today I am so excited to be spending some time with you. And I want to thank you for taking the time to do something good for yourself. One of the things I think a lot of us struggle with is letting go of our past beliefs, thoughts, and expectations so that we can fully step into our future. We spend so much time and energy resisting aging. And this is huge, especially for women. When we look at products designed for women, there are so many anti-aging products, right? Anti-aging face serums, anti-aging, whatever it is, when that is not marketed to men. Women are not supposed to age. Women are not said to be better with age, right? Men are dignified. They are looking at what their legacies are. And we are told to cling to our youth. And so we chase anti-aging solutions. We cling to our youth and what we think we should be doing and being like. And a lot of us spend a lot of time wishing we could rewind time. And I know this has been a big thing for me as I've looked in the mirror and I see gray hair and I see wrinkles and I don't necessarily love those. And as I get ready in the morning or get ready for bed in the evening and my husband's getting ready alongside me, he's not doing or thinking or acting the same around his age. He's not looking for the next best face cream to get rid of the wrinkles. He's not even really noticing them. And the funny thing is, he doesn't even notice them on me. It's not something that his brain has been trained to even be aware of and look for. Where in women, that is something that we are so hyper aware of. What our weight is, what we look like, how we can keep that youthful energy and appearance. So my question today is, what if we stopped fighting it? What if instead we saw this phase of life, especially as perimenopause is hitting so many of us, not as an ending, but instead as a beginning? Because really, this is a time that we gain confidence. This is a time where our brains are shedding what no longer serves us so that we can fully embrace what we truly want out of life. So today, we're diving into why aging is really a gift. And I'm going to talk about how we can let go of all of this fear that we're carrying around aging. And how we might just be able to step into this next chapter of life with more power and more freedom. Because let's be real, our society is obsessed with staying young. How many times have you heard people when, especially in midlife, when they're asked like, how old are you? And you get an answer that's way younger, like, oh my gosh, I'm 21 or I'm 25. I remember growing up, when I hit my 21st birthday, My grandmother was also 21, and my mother was also 21. Because both of them, when asked how old they were, for years had said 21. And I sit at 44 right now and look back at 21 and say, yeah, there was some fun in 21, but I wouldn't go back. I wouldn't want to be 21. There are so many things that I am way more confident in myself, in how I experience life at 44 than I ever was at 21. There was so much anxiety and worry about what other people were thinking about me at 21. At 21, I was trying to fit a mold. I wasn't trying to be myself. So I don't want to go back to be 21. But it was an odd experience to be 21 when that's the age that both my grandmother and mother claimed to be as well. And of course, everyone knew it was a joke, but there still was some essence of desire, of truth, of what they wanted to be. We look around, and so often there are no models for how an aging woman looks, right? We see commercials around anti-aging creams and procedures, and I've noticed in the film industry as I've been watching actresses and actors that I have seen throughout the last 20 years who no longer look like themselves because there have been so many anti-aging procedures done for the actress. But you look at the actor, and that man has just continued to age and looks like a normal aging human. Where you look at the actresses and you're like, whoa, she's had a lot of work done. And it's that feeling that we have to cling to our youth, that we're only valuable in our youth. We have filters on our phones designed to make us look like we've been frozen in time. So our presentation out in the media world is one of flawless skin, of no wrinkles. And I gotta tell you, my husband played with an app the other day. He's been really into photography lately, which has been fun. And so he's taking pictures and he's playing with editing. And he put on a filter that took all my wrinkles away. And I was honestly excited. Oh my gosh. But there's nothing, and don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with taking care of ourselves. There's nothing wrong with that delight of, look at that face with no wrinkles. The problem comes in is when we believe that aging is something that we need to resist, something that we need to fear, something about aging that we're losing, some part of ourselves. My grandmother, up until the last little bit before she died, was an incredibly active person. And she would have an ache or a pain or complain about this or, but she'd always say, well, the alternative is worse. And that's true, right? The alternative is death. We either age or we die. And there's so much wisdom in aging. There's so much freedom in aging. And watching women decades ahead of myself, how much more confidence and freedom they have. Because they've let go of all of the bullshit that just kept them stuck in place. And I'm on that journey. And I'm still weeding through my garden of bullshit, really pulling out the things that no longer serve me, that have kept me playing small and insecure and insignificant. Really questioning the thoughts that are going through my head of like, well, why? Why can't I do this? And I just recently had a conversation with my bestie just around this. right? How the thought of completely revamping my business and going on incredible trips, places alone, I had my own thoughts and beliefs about the what ifs, about I couldn't do it because, and it was all belief systems. Because as together we sat and picked apart my belief systems, there isn't a real reason why I can't completely do business differently, why I can't go on vacations or volunteer in Africa because of something. There is not really a barrier. The barrier is me. We live so much in fear of what's going to happen, fear of the future, fear of what's going on around us, especially in the times in the US that we are in right now. There's so much chaos and so much fear. And we can either choose to get up every day and live in that fear, or we can choose to do what we can to change how we live in that time and in that space. Our fear of aging is not just about appearance. We block ourselves in so many areas of life. We are still looking, constantly looking for quick fixes. The diet that will change everything overnight. The exercise program that will finally get us to our goal weight. But how many times in your life have you done that? Gotten results, because those things work. They do. I've done them. Only to realize you can't sustain them. I was working with my business coach this week, and she told me I'm really good at creating a successful business that burns me out, and then I want to burn it to the ground. And this has been my MO for years, where I get to this high level of whatever goals that I want, and I work my ass off to get there, but then I can't sustain that level of push. I don't want to. And then I start resenting my business, and then I start resenting the life I've created, and then I want to burn it down. And I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one who, and I am surrounded by entrepreneurs, so there's a lot of that conversation around me, but who has created a monster of a business that then takes over their life. And it was supposed to be create this so that I could live the life I want. But then there's so many responsibilities and ties to it that because you created it the way that you created it, you can't get out of it unless you burn it to the ground. So the quick fixes, they work, but we can't sustain the diet of eating whatever, so many calories for so long. We can't sustain the level of exercise that gets us there. What if we did it completely different? What if instead of chasing quick fixes, we focused instead on sustainable change? This is really what I've been doing over the last year and a half. What if we stopped obsessing over how we do something and start focusing on the actual experience? And I got to tell you, this is a game changer. I am the queen of lists. I am the queen of finding and figuring out the exact details of how. We talk in my family around, and I get super frustrated at my husband because he is not a detailed person. He is a big picture thinker. And I have really created myself to be a detailed person. I look at all the details and I drive my entire family insane because I've got every detail figured out and planned, plus the what ifs, the plan Bs and plan Cs if it doesn't work the way that we thought it would. And yes, that saves us from a lot of struggle because when things don't go the way that we need or things change, I have a plan that pulls out. And here we go, and we can do this way. But focusing, obsessing over how we do something we lose the ability to be creative. We lose the ability to actually experience life. I mean, how many times have you gone through and you've planned a vacation and you're so focused on all of the details of the vacation, like when you're leaving, what plane you're on, what snacks you need to provide, what you need to have. And then you actually get there and it's a constant detail of we've got to be here at this time and we've got to be here at this time and we've got to do this and we've got to do that and we've got to do it this way and we've got to do it that way. And you realize at the end of the vacation, you're exhausted and you never gave yourself an opportunity to just experience. Because just experiencing can be really scary. We control all those little details for a reason, because that control gives us a feeling of safety. That control keeps us from having to experience emotions that are uncomfortable and that we don't like. And often that control actually creates emotions and experiences that we don't like. But it's the only thing we know what to do. But what if we started flipping the script? What if we started looking and focusing on the experience instead of the how? What if we started looking for more connection instead of control? I got to tell you, this is a game changer. It's a life changer. My daughter used to describe me as the perfect police. And this week, we were having a conversation. She's like, "Oh my gosh, you're such a daisy." I'm like, "What's a daisy?" She's like, "Oh, that's the term that my friends and I use for somebody that's always super happy and positive." I'm like, "Awesome. I went from being the perfect police to a daisy. I'll take it." But it's because I stopped focusing on controlling and started focusing on the connection. It is more important to me to connect on a human level with my kids than to control everything that they do. Now, this is a change in the last year. It's allowing myself to sit in the discomfort of, oh my gosh, we're going to be late. This is my biggest one. And letting go of that control is we're going to be late. I hate being late. Hate it. Like I can feel a visceral response to being late. And my kids don't have the same sense of urgency of time that I do. But I started really shifting and saying, okay, I'm just going to let us be late. And if we get to be the family that's always late, well, I guess we're the family that's always late. And we're not. We actually haven't been late. But we go to school happier because I'm not so focused on controlling what's going on, and instead I'm able to connect. And as I connect, my kids are actually ready for school earlier than we need to be, almost every day, versus me pushing and controlling and making sure, did you brush your teeth and brush your hair and brush your every single morning. We shifted. And now they get ready on their own. I did a flip chart. So we wrote out all of the things they need to do to get ready in the morning. And it's their responsibility to go through the chart. And everything has a little flip button so we can tell what's done and what's not. And I don't check it. And the freedom it's given me in the morning and the freedom and confidence it's giving them is huge. And honestly, they're usually ready 10 to 20 minutes before we have to leave. And then we get to connect and talk and do things. It's not that extreme push out the door because I stopped focusing on the controlling and started focusing on connecting. And when my kiddos are having a hard day, I'm connecting with them to figure out what's going on. And there's usually a fear, right? But once we can connect and address, oh, I'm afraid of, the Sunday scares, Monday morning scares, those are big. And so it's just addressing, you haven't been in school for a little bit. Or, there is a big test today or a big project. But it's instead of just pushing past those feelings like, get your stuff done, it was the transition to, let's sit with that for a minute and chat about it. Because then they felt better and then they were able to get ready easily. It's looking at how can I connect with my partner and not look at how can I control what he does. It's a big shift. This space called perimenopause, it isn't the beginning of the end. I just listened to a podcast around how movement, and we're designed to move, is what can keep us young. That we don't have to age to be decrepit. That the last 20 years of our life doesn't have to be a downhill decline. What's really the downhill decline, what's really causing the downhill decline is that we're sedentary, that we sit, that we basically give up and say, okay, I'm too frail, I'm too fragile, I can't do that. And I've been very, very fortunate in watching my grandmothers, who all are incredibly active women. So I have 2 grandmothers still alive. One has passed. And they're all incredibly active. My dad's mom just turned 98 years old, and we went to her 98th birthday party. Absolutely fabulous. And she still lives on her own. And it's because she's been active and social her whole life. And we know that that connection, that interpersonal connection, and being active, mobility, are the things that keep us healthy and alive. So I'd really love to invite you to see this time where perimenopause is changing our bodies, right? And the truth is that as we age, our bodies are going to change, especially in this stage of perimenopause where we know hormones are shifting. Our ovaries are taking that time of like, okay, it's getting close to retirement. And, when everybody gets close to retirement, you stop doing your job so well. So with those changes, we can either look at them as we're losing something, or we get to look at them as just a transition, as an opportunity to reinvent, revamp, restart, whatever it is, and begin a new era in our life. As our bodies get to shift and change, we can allow our brains, our minds, our emotions, and in our life, allow us to shed what no longer serves us. All of the people pleasing that we did in our 20s and 30s, we can let it go. Because I gotta tell you, people are going to judge you no matter what. And it's really okay to let people be upset. It's really okay to let people not like you. It's really okay to let people be frustrated. It's really okay to just let them. All of the societal expectations, they really aren't our problem. The limiting beliefs, it's time to weed the garden. We get to leave those behind. And as part of this reevaluation time, we get to look at what we really value and how we want to spend our time. We've spent years putting all our energy into things that drain us. Jobs, commitments, relationships. And then we wonder why we feel like we need to burn it all down. I mean, have you ever poured yourself into something and then you just wanted to set it on fire because it sucked you dry? This last week, my kids were sick. All week. I had kids sick home from school. And that just happens, right? That's just life. It's part of having kids in elementary school. But I found myself exhausted. And I found myself complaining that I got nothing done, even though I work from home and I was able to go downstairs and get some work done and work on the couch beside them, right? But what I was really looking at, because I did get things done. I recorded podcast episodes. I showed up for client calls. I also snuggled my babies and watched TV, more cartoons than my brain can handle, but I snuggled my babies and watched TV. My problem wasn't that I didn't accomplish anything. My problem was that I didn't value sitting on the couch with my kids. I didn't honor the fact that I was being present with them. and that being present with them was just as important as checking things off my to-do list. But checking things off my to-do list made me feel better because I didn't value that time. I even had a conversation with my husband about craving bringing more spice and pizzazz into his life because that's what I was craving. And I realized I craved it because I wasn't honoring my needs in that time. I felt guilt for not doing what I wanted to do and putting myself on the back burner. And I also felt guilt for sitting with them on the couch and watching hours of cartoons. The key was I wasn't honoring what I was doing. I wasn't seeing value in what I was doing. And I was getting myself stuck in the tug of war of trying to really honor myself and trying to be what other people need me to be. It's not just pushing through life. The key is balancing your needs with life's demands. And so after a few days of the tug of war, I really looked at my husband and said, I've got to do some things for me. That meant I prioritized my volunteer time and got out of the house and still showed up. And I did it because it makes me feel good. I recently read Mel Robbins' Let Them Theory book. And if you haven't heard about it, it's the simple but powerful idea. If someone doesn't support you, doesn't understand you, wants to walk away, judges you, let them. Just let them. They get to be their own people. They get to have their own thoughts. And you just get to let them. And of course, this is for adults. This isn't for kids because, if we just let our kids do whatever they wanted, they'd be swinging from the rafters and eating bags of marshmallows all day and, all of that fun stuff. But it's really looking at how we waste energy trying to change people's opinions, trying to hold on to relationships that are no longer aligned with us. And we do the same with our past selves. We try to hold on to who we were, afraid that if we let go, we're not going to recognize ourselves. But letting go is what makes space for our next evolution. It's really looking back at your life, and this is not Mel's take, this is Landy's take, but when we're letting them, and part of her theory is let them and then let you, but it's looking at let you do things that you need to do. But we also have to look back at our own past life and let whatever happened happen. Not go back and beat ourselves up because we didn't do this, that, or the other, and we wished we did this, or we had regrets. Let that past self just be. She did her best. She learned a lesson. Let that go. Let go of the need for approval. Let go of the belief that you have to be who you've always been in life. Let go of the fear that stepping into something new means you're losing yourself, because in reality, what you're doing is just finding yourself. It means that now is the time to let yourself do what you need to do, to let the rest of the world do the rest of the world. And that does not mean ignoring the things that are going on in the world and just turning a blind eye. It means if you are passionate and if you are ready to roar around something, to let yourself roar. It means that if right now all of the stuff that's going on in the world, you just need to let happen so that you can focus on you and your kids and your family and your business and whatever else you need to focus, that's okay too. It's the time to let you do what you need to do and let everything else do its thing. If you're worried about stepping into a new business or quitting your job or getting a divorce and you're worried about what other people are going to think, just let them think that. They're going to think it. You might as well be happy and let them think whatever they're going to think. It's finding that balance where you get to stand up for what you need and what you believe. It's not being complacent in life. It's really stepping into your voice. It's stepping into your happiness. It's letting you live in the way that you think you should live. So if it means that now is the time to travel, what can you do to make that happen? Because I know for me, there's so many roadblocks that I was putting up around why I can't travel. But when I actually looked at each of those roadblocks, they were just a belief, a roadblock that I threw up. So I really didn't have to push to get what I wanted. I really didn't honor myself. So if I want to travel, can I travel? Absolutely. And you can too. We can be creative. It doesn't have to be a big, extravagant, fancy trip, right? But it's honoring if that is something that your inner being wants, to honor it. If you want to start a business, start it. If you want to ditch your business, do it. If you want to get a divorce, awesome. If you want to go into a relationship, awesome. If you want to make a better marriage, awesome. It's what do you want and what do you need? Take the class. Dance, create, love fiercely, experience life fully. We've spent too many years holding back, too many years worrying. Fear has kept us small in our 20s and 30s, and now we get to rewrite the rules. Now is the time that you get to step into something different. Now is the time that you get to honor yourself. Now is the time that you really get to allow yourself the time and space to experience life. Not just check it off because you did it. Now is the time that you really get to get creative. Allow yourself to dream big. So my coach recently asked me, if you could do anything, what would Landy do? And I'm looking at revamping my business and have no real clue of what it's going to look like, although I do have a fabulous idea. And it's nothing like anything I've done before. And I'm so excited. And the idea came because she said, let go of everything that you've ever done in your entire life. And if you had a blank canvas, what would Landy do? And so I'm going to ask you right now, if you had a blank canvas, what would you do? Let go of everything. Let go of the ties to, oh my gosh, but I have my master's or I have my doctorate and I worked so hard to get that. Yeah, you did. Great. Let that be part of you, but let that not define you. If you're looking at, oh my gosh, I don't have the money. I don't have the, we all have the excuses, right? I don't have the right education. I don't know what it would look like. Awesome. Let those feelings be there. And if you had a magic wand, if you had a paintbrush and a blank canvas, what would you create? What would you do? How would you live? Who would you be? And so I sat with all of these questions and really threw out everything I've done, every structure that I have created, every thought process of what a business would look like and should look like and could look like. And I think I've created something extraordinary. And I'm not going to share it yet because I'm still working out all the different ideas and not the details, not the hows. That'll come down the road. This is the time to really expand and say, if I threw out all of the rules, what could I create? What could I experience? And this is exactly what I'm creating. It's not another coaching program, it's not another therapy program, but an experience for me and for my clients. Something that actually changes your life in the moment that we're doing it, not just repatterning the brain. And yes, that's so important. And I'll have aspects of everything that I've done brought in because I can't shift that all out of my brain. But really, how can we create an experience to create connection, deep level connection? As I've done my interviews and talked to people around the Me in the Middle series, and one of the biggest things is we don't have those deep level connections. We want it, we crave it, we want those people that we can deep dive. So let's create an experience where we can. Not talk about let's go out and find friends, but what if we created it together? Not talked about how can I so believe that we need to come back to bring in hobbies and joy into our life and not say, let's go do it. Like, it's the difference between the cognitive learning of something and the embodying it. And that's what my new idea is coming is how can I help people embody the life they want, not just cognitively plan it. It's coming back to who you are. And the more that I've played with this idea, I really think we had it as kids. We knew exactly who we are as kids. And as I've allowed myself to play more, to be more, to just experience life, I'm coming back to those same things that I loved as a kid. Absolutely loved. This is who I am. And then I started following the rules of the world and I left some of that behind. So how can we bring that in? How can you get so curious and passionate about your life that you want to get up every single fucking day? How can you create a life that you don't need a vacation from? It's allowing yourself this opportunity to do something different, to let you step into the light, to let you be who you need and who you want, and let everyone else be them and do them. And even our kiddos, well, we can't let them run free and wild completely. No marshmallows and ice cream for breakfast every day. But that connection allows me to see who they are and allows me to let them shine through. That even if I'm like, ugh, that makes me a little uncomfortable, because that's a belief system that I've picked up along the way. But like, it's telling myself as my kids have been sick, and they legit sick, could not have gone to school. But as the days ticked on, and they each collectively were out for about a week. So like I've been doing sick kids for probably 2 weeks at this point. Letting my own inner fears and letting myself talk through those inner fears, right? There's a part of me that really, I bought in hook, line, and sinker to the belief that you shouldn't miss a day of school. Like I was the kiddo that was trying for the perfect attendance record because you got acknowledged in this award ceremony at the end of the year. I was the kid that went to school sick because I wanted the perfect attendance record. To really let my kids stay home sick, but to be like, okay, there's going to be people that are judging me. Let them. There's going to be people that are going to comment on my kids being gone so much. Let them. We're going to get a letter from the school because they hit so many days out. When you hit so many days out, you get a letter from the school saying your kids, attendance is super important, and we got the letter. Let them. But it was a constant conversation within myself as those uncomfortable feelings came up, and I was allowed, and I love, as we talk about parts, because it takes from I am scared to a part of me is scared. I am feeling judged to a part of me is feeling judged. It just takes it smaller. It's just allowing us to converse with a small piece of us versus letting that consume us. So a part of me is really worried about people's judgments. Let them judge me. I'm making the best decision for me, and I'm making the best decision for my kids, and I wholeheartedly know that this is the best decision, even though it makes me uncomfortable, even though I wanted to say, can't you just suck it up and go to school? Even though I really craved having that time alone, because I love when I'm alone in my house. And I didn't get that for 2 weeks. And it's just, let them. And let me have those fears, but talk to those fears. Let me acknowledge that there's parts of me that are uncomfortable here, but there's parts of me that are fine. It's not all consuming. And I think we have an all or nothing belief, right? How much of when we're looking at aging is this all, I'm going to lose everything. I'm going to be weak. I'm going to be decrepit. I'm not going to be able to do the things I love. And then we have perimenopause that comes in and makes word recall hard and our brain's foggy and we feel like we're really losing it. And we take this as a whole, right? When we have a part of us that hurts, so your knee hurts, your ankle hurts, your hip hurts, whatever it is, you're able to say, it's that part. We go to the doctor and we say, my knee hurts. We don't go to the doctor and say, my all hurts. But with our emotions, we tend to take it as my all hurts, right? I am all mad. I am all sad. Instead of, there's a part of me that is really pissed off here. There's a part of me that's really sad here. But that doesn't consume my all, because I really don't think your knee is mad. I think when you are feeling mad, there's a part of you that feels mad, but not every single cell in your body feels mad, right? Not every single cell in your body feels the pain of your knee. Yes, we can have some interacting things because our body's interconnected. But we get so tied up in the whole thing. We put all of our eggs in one basket. We're aging. And what does that mean? It means that I've lived 44 years on this earth. My son was talking about, he just learned about a birthday is, that many years around the sun. And so he's going around to everybody and he's like, oh my gosh, Tegan's been 10 times around the sun. Mom's been 44 times around the sun. And it's fun if you think about that. Like, yes, I get to own that. I get to say I've been 44 times around the sun. But that doesn't mean I'm old. It doesn't mean my life's over. When I heard the statistic that men hit midlife at 37 right now and women hit midlife at 40 right now, that means I'm over midlife. It's a really oh my gosh, thought. And my next thought gets to be, but that's not me. I'm going to be like my grandma and hit 98 and live alone. I'm going to be like my other grandma who was in her 80s, I think she was 87 or 89, I can't remember when she died, who lived alone. She was still, a couple months before she died, incredible woman, she had her Sawzall and was out cutting things, and you're like, oh my gosh, it looks bigger than her right now. But that tenacity, and what got both of them the longevity and the ability to live on their own, and my other grandma is in her 80s and still lives on her own and walks all the time and has this huge hill that she lives on, and she trudges up and down the hill where her dog won't even go up and down the hill anymore. The key things that research says keeps us living long and healthy are the things that my grandmothers do. It's movement. All three of my grandmothers are extremely active. All of them are extremely connected to people. They have strong social lives. Nobody's isolated. And we get to set ourselves up for success, for that longevity, by choosing right now, by looking at our lives right now and saying, I'm going to choose movement. This doesn't mean you have to go run marathons. It means that you're going to go walk every day for 45 minutes, right? It means that you're going to really prioritize that time. It means that you're going to look at your life and say, I don't have the friends I want right now, but I'm going to prioritize making those connections. I'm going to prioritize the relationships that I currently have in my life. You get the choice. It's your life. You get to choose what you want to do. And I really appreciate the conversations I've had in the last week that have encouraged me to do that too. To get out of my own way. Because I am, and you are, your biggest block in getting what you want. You can focus on the negative or you can focus on the positive. They're both there. I think I've shared before, my husband brushes the snow off my car every morning that there's snow, but he doesn't shovel the drive. And I can focus on he doesn't shovel the drive. Or I can focus on he brushed off my car and scraped my car and made sure that it's ready to go. They're both there. I can focus on he took out the garbage, but he didn't put in the bag because he never replaces the bag, but I can focus on the grumpies of he didn't replace the bag, or I can focus on he took out the garbage, right? You can look at everything that we do and there's a positive and a negative, because really it's a continuum, right? It's just like cold and hot. They're on the same continuum. Hard and soft. They're all linked and together. It's just where in the gradation is that? Where does it turn true cold and where does it turn true hot? But there's warm in the middle. And so we can stand there and just focus on the middle, or we can stand there and focus on one end or the other end, but we're still there. Whatever we're looking at, we can pick it apart and find the negative, or we can pick it apart and find the positive. It gets to be your choice. And if you start picking it apart and finding the negative, guess what? You do not have to keep going down the path. It's never too late to change your mind and turn around. My grandpa once told me that I was debating a job. And it was a job I didn't really want, but it was a job that, I needed a job at the time. I had just graduated from college. I had no other job prospects. And he's like, well, you can always quit. And it was like this eye-opening thing, especially for me that was not a quitter. And I was like, oh, well, you're right. I could take this job and then quit when I find something that I like better. It gets money coming in the door. It gave me experience. And I did. I took the job and I quit. A couple months later when I found something I liked better. But we can get so stuck in, what are they going to think about me if I quit? What are they going to say about me if I quit? Am I going to be, the flake that bounces places to places? Or you can do what's good for you. So I want to leave you with this. What are you still holding on to that's keeping you from stepping into your next amazing chapter of life? I would invite you to write down one thing that you're ready to let go of, ready to change, ready to not have in your life anymore. One thing that's not serving you. And then I want you to write down one thing that you're ready to step into, one thing that you want, one thing that's out there, one thing that you dream about. Bonus if you say it out loud and own it. And if you're feeling like sharing, please send me a message on Facebook or Instagram or email me. I'd love to see and hear what you want in life. And I want to thank you so much because I know I have some incredibly faithful listeners. So thank you if you are listening every single week. And if this resonated with you, I'm going to ask that you do me a favor. I really want to grow this podcast. I really want more people to hear this message. Please share it with a friend who needs to hear this. Think of somebody, or maybe there's another episode that really resonated with you, but would you share it? Would you allow this community to grow? Because honestly, it's you that grows the communities. Because it's when we hear things, when we feel things, when we take that extra moment and effort to share it, even though it feels scary, even though you're like, oh my gosh, if I share this, what are people going to think? It's like posting things on Facebook or Instagram, Facebook especially. And I remember as I was posting things from my different businesses throughout my time as an entrepreneur, and people would take it that it was me, that it was my problem. If I'm talking, say, about pee leaks as a pelvic therapist, I never experienced that. But that doesn't mean that I didn't post about it and talk about it. And then people took it as what I said was personal when it wasn't. Well, let them. It's okay. It's nothing to be ashamed of. So if you're worried that somebody's going to think something about you because you shared them, or you're going to offend somebody, let them. And share it anyway. Because if you think they need to hear it, they probably do. And they might be really, really grateful. Sometimes those tough conversations are the ones that we are the most grateful for. And because I think it is so incredibly important as adults, as humans, to hear someone else tell you, because your brain hears it differently than if you tell you. You are smart. You are kind. You are creative. You are fun. You are funny. You're an incredible human being, and you are so worthy and deserving of anything and everything that you want, that your heart desires. I am so thankful that you are in my life. I like you and I love you. And I wish you all the happiness throughout the day. We'll talk to you on the next episode. Hey, before you go, just a little bit of legal. This podcast is designed for educational purposes only. It is not to replace any expert advice from your doctors, therapists, coaches, or any other professional that you would work with. It's just a chat with a friend, me, where we get curious about ideas, thoughts, and things that are going on in our lives. And as we're talking about friends, if you know someone who would benefit from the conversation today, please share. Because I think the more that we open up these conversations, the more benefit we all get. So until next time, give yourself a big hug from me and stay curious, because that's the fun in this world.